so much, everyone, for staying with us. Honorable ADEKUNLE Akinlade, the APM governorship candidate in Ogun State, has been talking to us on what he hopes and plans for the people of Ogun State. We'll go in depth into his programs. Thank you so much for coming to us.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean.
What is the spine of your manifesto?
Honestly, we're looking at basically education, healthcare, infrastructure, and housing.
That's
just basic.
That is perhaps what you think that the people of Ogun State.
That's what we're looking at, basically where we are today.
So, if you say you're continuing, you want to continuity is part of what you are planning. You want to continue with what Senator Amosun is doing right now. Is that the spine of what he's doing now?
No, what we're saying is this. We're looking at exactly what has happened so far. The foundation has been set in Ogun State. And because, of course, looking at where we are today and where we hope to get to in the next 4 years, God permit, we hope as a government to make sure that we develop and structure most of our plans around what I just mentioned to you.
So you won't be building more flyovers?
Where they are necessary, we will. There's a blueprint, a 25 years blueprint in Ogun State as I speak. What has happened in the last 7.5 years is that the first phase of that blueprint has been executed. And what we hope to do, by God's grace, is to make sure that we continue with that blueprint.
So you will build more flyovers?
We will build where necessary. Where
the
necessary,
PDP has criticized the APC in Ogun State that it's building a lot of flyovers, but some people from the state are hungry.
You see, we need to understand something. When you invest much, you position the state with the amount of industries coming to Ogun State today. For those who can see what the future of the next 10 years is going to be in Ogun State, the population of Ogun State is going to grow by about 2.5 million in the next 10 years. Now, when that's going to happen, there's going to be more traffic and more people moving around in Ogun State. Now, if you don't plan ahead, we're going to see us now. If it's going to cost about 2 billion to do that today, if we don't plan, in 5-10 years' time, we'll be spending about 20-30 billion to do the same thing. And what we're trying to do differently in Ogun State is to make sure that we plan ahead into the future, put infrastructure in place that will enable us, because of course we know very clearly where we are. We can see where the future is going to take us. And that's why it's necessary that we need to build this infrastructure to accommodate the development and the population growth that surely would come to Ogun State. And naturally, look at the city center in Abeokuta, for example. It's going to attract about 6,000 workers in the city center of Abeokuta. And that means, imagine how many vehicles. An average family drives about two cars in Nigeria. So imagine that if you don't have those. Imagine what Ogun State is going to look at in the next 5-10 years. And I think that's why it's necessary. That's why I said, where it is necessary, we will construct. But that will not take anything away from other necessities of our dear state.
So when you say education, what exactly are you talking about in education?
So if you look at, I'm from a neighboring community, Ekpokia of Ogun State. The greatest challenge...
Neighboring to Lagos State?
No, to Benin Republic.
To Benin Republic.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the greatest challenge I've had, I had the rare opportunity to have gone to university or to go even beyond secondary school because of what, the way my local government was positioned. And we've seen that the greatest challenge that any community can have, when you invest so much and attract so much investment and businesses to a state, when you don't educate the young population, I think we have about 49% of our population are under 30 years old today in Ogun State, which is almost an average of what the national population of young people are. If you don't invest in education, you're going to have crisis on your hand. And that's what we believe. The education should take a first priority. And that's exactly what's happening with the present administration. That's why we put it as the first thing that we're going to face and make sure that at least we invest more in education, get our people to be able to do more for themselves. And I know that our state will be better for it in the future.
So you're looking at the internally generated revenue in the state is around in the region of about 3 billion?
About 7 now.
About 7 billion?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And so what is your expectation? What is your target? Should you become governor?
Sure, if you look at where we're coming from, I was a SSA, Senior Special Assistant to Senator Bikula Amosun within 2011 and 2014 in the agency called Ogun State Inter-Revenue Service, which is what I do. That's my core competence, really. And what we did is to make sure that we encourage what they call voluntary compliance in Ogun State then, and to make sure that most of the neighboring communities around bordering neighboring states, we get them into the tax net. What we're going to do differently and trying to do going forward is to invest in the rural communities and make them more economically viable. And once we're able to do that, we should be able to, our projection is to get our IGR within 10 and 12 billion within the first 2 years. And that we believe is possible based on what we have on our ground and what I've done. We've been there from the very beginning with this administration. I served in this administration in that capacity. I know what the targets are. I know what the goals are. I know where the low-hanging fruits are. And I believe it's possible. As a Chief Executive Officer, I will be able to harness all those opportunities, and I know we can get it to 10 to 12 billion.
Oh, so you're targeting about 10 to 12 billion?
By God's grace.
So I hope, are you planning to double tax people too?
You can't do that if you know what you're doing. When you don't know what you're doing in the area of revenue generation, then you actually go after people to increase taxes. No, the issue is not about increasing taxes. It's about making sure there is voluntary compliance to make sure that people pay adequately and pay as at when due. As still today, less than 20% of taxable adults are actually in the tax net as we speak today. And that's because, of course, what we've done so far across to make sure that we try to invest in infrastructure. As you attract more businesses in, if you look at the way it is, those who pay about 20%, about 80% of the revenue are people who fall within the formal sector, the industries. And those who pay about 15, 20% are those who fall under the tag of the informal sector. So it's not about increasing taxes, but making sure that taxes run efficiently. When that is done, you get the money in. People pay tax, it's just that the tax does not get into government coffer. What we'll do is to deploy more technology and make sure that, and once you deploy technology, you will get the relevant revenue into government coffer. Once it gets to government coffer, of course, it's like a pipe. When there's so much oil, no matter whatever you pump, with the leakages, there's nothing you can do about that. What we'll do is to block those leakages and make sure that, the money gets into government coffer. Surely we will attain that.